Good day, everyone. Today, we're going to discuss about a hydrogen power plant, which is one of the emerging technologies in renewable energy. So first, let's talk about the description. A hydrogen power plant is basically a concept designed for a new and widespread source of electricity. Ibig sabihin, isa itong modern approach para makapag-produce ng power using hydrogen instead of traditional fuels like coal or oil. In simple terms, this facility uses hydrogen to produce electrical energy. Unlike conventional power plants na nagsusunog ng fossil fuels, dito, hindi combustion ang main process. Instead, it relies on chemical reactions. What makes this important is that hydrogen is considered a clean energy source. Kapag ginamit ito properly, ang main byproduct niya is water, not harmful gases like carbon dioxide. So, malaking advantage siya in reducing environmental pollution and fighting climate change. Another key idea here is sustainability. Since hydrogen can be produced from water using renewable sources like solar or wind energy, it becomes part of a cleaner energy cycle. So instead of depleting natural resources, we are actually using a more renewable and eco-friendly system. Overall, hydrogen power plants represent a future direction of energy and more sustainable, less dependent on fossil fuels. Now, let's move on to the working principle of a hydrogen power plant. The process starts with large tanks of liquid hydrogen. These tanks serve as the main fuel storage. From there, the hydrogen is fed into thousands of hydrogen fuel cells. Now, what are the cells or what are the fuel cells? These are solid structures that work similarly to batteries. Meron silang electrolyte and two terminals, the positive and negative, kung saan nangyayari ang energy conversion. Inside the fuel cell, hydrogen and oxygen are the main reactants. The hydrogen usually comes from the storage tank, while the oxygen is taken from the air. Kapag pumasok sila sa fuel cell, they undergo a chemical reaction with the help of the electrolyte. This reaction produces electricity, heat, and water. The important output here is the electricity. Ito yung kinukuha natin from the terminals of the fuel cells. Instead of using it immediately, the electricity is first collected and stored in large-scale batteries. These batteries act as energy storage systems. Dito muna nakahold ang electricity until it is needed. This is very useful, especially for managing supply and demand. Kapag kailangan na ng kuryente, the stored electricity is then distributed through the local power grid, just like in any other power plant. So, from the user's perspective, wala masyadong difference, but the process behind is much cleaner. Meanwhile, the byproduct, which is water, is safely released or managed, making the entire system environmentally friendly. So, to summarize the process, hydrogen goes into fuel cells, reacts with oxygen, produces electricity. The electricity is stored and then distributed to the grid when needed. So, overall, hydrogen power plants offer a cleaner and more sustainable way of generating electricity, making them a promising solution for the future of energy.
A battery is made up of several key components, each with a specific function. First is the anode, which is the negative terminal of the battery. During discharge, it releases electrons. Next is the cathode, which is the positive terminal. This is where the electrons go after traveling through the external circuit. And lastly, the electrolytes. It is another important part that is a chemical medium that allows ions to move inside the battery. Without it, a chemical reaction would not happen. This slide shows a simple schematic diagram of a battery. On one side, we have the anode connected to the negative terminal, and on the other side, the cathode connected to the positive terminal. These are connected by an external circuit like a wire or a device. When the battery is in use, electrons flow from the anode through the external circuit and into the cathode. This flow of electrons is what powers electrical devices. At the same time, inside the battery, ions move through the electrolyte from one electrode to the other. So basically, there are two movements happening. Electrons moving outside the battery and ions moving inside. Both are necessary for the battery to function properly. Now let's look at the construction of a dry cell battery based on the diagram shown. At the center, we have the carbon rod which acts as the cathode or the positive terminal. Surrounding it is a mixture called manganese dioxide paste, which helps in the chemical reaction. Next, we have the electrolyte, which is usually a moist paste that allows ions to move inside the battery. The outer container is made of zinc, which serves as the anode or the negative terminal. This means the zinc casing itself participates in the chemical reaction. At the top, there is a metal cap which acts as the positive terminal and an expansion space that allows gases to build up safely inside the battery without causing it to burst. All these components are sealed together to make the battery compact, safe, and easy to use. This is simple but effective design is why dry cell batteries are commonly used in everyday devices like flashlights and remote controls. Now let's talk about how a battery actually works. A battery works through chemical reactions. At the anode, a reaction called oxidation happens, where electrons are released. So these electrons then travel through the external circuit, providing electrical energy. When they reach the cathode, another action called reduction occurs, where the electrons are accepted. While this is happening, ions inside the battery move through the electrolyte to balance the charges. So in simple terms, the battery converts chemical energy into electrical energy through the movement of electrons and ions. This is what allows devices to operate. In terms of rechargeable batteries, the process can be reversed. When you plug in a charger, an external power source forces the electrons to move in the opposite direction. This reverses the chemical reactions inside the battery, restoring it to its original state. That is why rechargeable batteries can be used many times, unlike disposable batteries, which can only be used once.
These are the chemical reaction in zinc-carbon battery. At the anode side, it oxidizes or zinc loses electrons. At the cathode side, reduction naman or manganese dioxide is reduced. So what's happening overall? Zinc oxidizes para mag-release siya ng electrons, which is yun yung source of electrical energy. And manganese dioxide reduces, so it can accept electrons. The electrolyte allows ion movement to keep the reaction going. Hydrogen fuel cell working principle. A hydrogen fuel cell converts chemical energy directly into electrical energy through electrochemical reactions, similar in concept to a battery, but it keeps working as long as the fuel is supplied. So, yung working principle, a typical hydrogen fuel cell, like a proton exchange membrane fuel cell, has three main parts: the anode or negative electrode, the cathode or the positive electrode, and the electrolyte membrane that allows only protons to pass. As you can see in this figure, marami siyang tinuturong parts or maraming parts ang isang hydrogen fuel cell. Pero ituturo na natin kung paano siya gumagana. Kasi simplihin natin. So, si hydrogen is nasa left side and si oxygen naman is nasa right side. Si hydrogen is isusupply siya as a fuel dito sa may anode side and si oxygen naman isusupply siya dito sa cathode side. Ngayon, si hydrogen consists of protons and electrons. Ngayon, dito sa middle part, ito yung tinatawag nating proton exchange membrane. Bakit tinawag na proton exchange membrane? It only allows proton to pass onto it. Ngayon, yung proton ng hydrogen makakadaan siya sa gitna. Si electron naman, syempre hindi kasi proton lang yung nakakadaan doon. Si electron ngayon, dadaan siya dito sa may load. Ngayon, pag dumaan siya sa load, makakapunta na siya dito sa may cathode side. Tapos, syempre nakadaan na si proton, nakadaan na rin si electron, magre-reunite siya ngayon dito sa may cathode side. Pag nag-reunite siya dun sa may cathode side, sasama siya ngayon sa oxygen. Ngayon, pag sumama yung hydrogen sa oxygen, makakabuo siya ng byproduct na water or H2O. Ngayon, yung mga unused na oxygen is kasabay lang siyang lalabas nung water or H2O. Tapos yung unused naman na hydrogen is lalabas lang siya dun sa may bandang kung saan siya sinupply. So, ganun lang siya gumagana. Yung proton makakadaan sa gitna, tapos yung electron naman ng hydrogen is dadaan sa load. Tapos, magre-reunite siya sa may cathode side, tapos sasama siya sa oxygen, makakabuo ng byproduct na water. Tapos, yung mga unused is lalabas lang din siya kung saan siya sinupply. Ganun lang siya gumana. Dito naman tayo sa hydrogen power plant schematic diagram. So, makikita nyo dito sa may left side is dalawang tank. Isang tank ng hydrogen, isang tank naman ng oxygen. So, si hydrogen, tapos yung pula ng mga arrow, ibig sabihin nun, sinusupply siya dun sa may mga anode side ng hydrogen fuel cells. Yung hydrogen FC, ibig sabihin nun, hydrogen fuel cells. So, si hydrogen nga, sinusupply siya dito sa may mga anode side nitong hydrogen fuel cells. Tapos, si oxygen naman, is sinusupply siya dito sa may mga cathode side ng hydrogen fuel cells. Tapos, yung black na arrow, diba, nakaturo siya papunta sa DC to AC inverter. Ba't kailangan ng DC to AC inverter? Kasi nga, 'di ba sinabi sa hydrogen power plant or sa fuel cell, hydrogen fuel cell, gumagana siya parang battery. Nag-ooperate siya na parang battery. So ibig sabihin, yung na-produce niyang voltage is DC. Ngayon, kailangan natin ng inverter para ma-convert yung DC into AC. Pagkayari dun sa DC to AC inverter, pupunta na siya sa grid transformer. Bakit kailangan ng grid transformer? Para i-step up to eliminate further losses due to long transmission lines. Tapos, etong mga orange na arrow naman na to, ito yung nilalabasan ng byproduct niya or yung tinatawag nating water or H2O. So, ganun lang siya gumana.
So next, hydrogen power plant and why explore it. So now, bakit nga ba natin ito i-explore, no? Sabi rito, fuel cells have several benefits over conventional combustion. This technology is currently used in many power plants and passenger vehicles, no? So unang-una, ang fuel cells ay isang advanced technology na ginagamit para mag-produce ng kuryente.
So hydrogen is very efficient fuel source, capable of producing more energy per pound of fuel than gasoline. So this means that an equal size tank of hydrogen fuel will give a vehicle a greater range or more power than when filled with gasoline in an internal combustion engine. So, compared sa traditional or combustion-based systems, yung mga gumagamit ng pagsusun pagsusunog ng fuel tulad ng gasoline or diesel, no? Mas efficient ang hydrogen fuel. So, bakit? So, kasi ang hydrogen ay may mataas na energy content per unit mass. So, ibig sabihin, parehong dami ng timbang ng fuel, mas maraming energy ang kaya i-produce ng hydrogen kumpara sa gasoline, no? So, pag in-explain natin ng ibang way, ah, kung sa pagdating ng kalayuan, mas mabilis mauubos ang gasoline kumpara sa hydrogen. Kumbaga, 1 km lang ang layo na mararating mo sa gasoline, 1 litro, at sa hydrogen naman is 2 kilometro ang maitatakbo mo. So, ngayon, punta tayo sa isang pinaka-importanteng advantage na. So, yung environmental impact. Sa mga combustion engines, ang byproduct ay carbon dioxide. So, at iba pang pollutants na nagdudulot ng smog at health problems na. Pero sa hydrogen fuel cells, ang output lang ay tubig o water. So technically, zero harmful emission siya habang ginagamit. So, napakaganda nito na para sa atin. And also, malaking bagay ito, lalo na laban natin sa mga climate change at air pollution. So, isa pa, another advantage is efficiency and operations. Dahil mas konti ang moving parts ng fuel cells, mas tahimik sila at mas less ang mechanical wear and tear. So, ibig sabihin, mas mababa ang maintenance at mas reliable in the long run. No? So, in summary, mas efficient ang hydrogen kaysa sa gasoline. Mas malinis dahil water ang emission. And also, mas tahimik at simple ang operation ng hydrogen. So, kaya natin siya in-explore dahil ito ay isang sustainable at future-ready energy solution. No?
So, why it has gone in mainstream? Number one is the hydrogen production through methane, steam methane reforming, SMR. This is currently the most common method because it's cheaper than other methods. It involves reacting methane with steam to produce hydrogen and carbon dioxide. So, ano ba yung sinasabi dito? So, yung sinasabi dito is, yung hydrogen mula daw sa methane ay ginagawa sa pamamagitan ng reaction ng natural gas at steam na nagpuproduce ng hydrogen. Medyo mura at mature ang technology pero naglalabas ito ng malaking carbon emission. Kung walang carbon capture, ang carbon capture para gawing blue hydrogen ay mahal at complex kaya hindi pa ito sustainable sa malakihang scale. Next is the hydrogen production through water. Electrolysis split water into hydrogen and oxygen using electricity. If the electricity comes from renewable resource, it's very clean, but the process consumes a lot of energy. This makes hydrogen from water much more expensive than hydrogen from methane, limiting widespread adoption. So ano ba yung sinasabi dito? Ang sinasabi dito, yung hydrogen production mula sa tubig ay ginagawa sa pamamagitan ng electrolysis gamit ang kuryente kung renewable energy ang source. Ito ay green at clean na walang direct emission. Ang problema ay mahal ang production dahil mataas nga ang kuryenteng kailangan at expensive ang electrolysis technology. Next is the cost. Hydrogen production, storage, and transport are only costly compared to the fossil fuel. Building hydrogen plants and pipelines are compressing, qualifying hydrogen for transport adds millions in investment. These high costs make hydrogen power less competitive in electricity market. So, what is it? Ang cost consideration daw, ang methane-based hydrogen ay mas mura per grams kaysa sa water-based hydrogen. Pero mas environmental cost. Water-based hydrogen ay clean pero 2 to 3 times na mas mahal depende sa presyo ng renewable electricity. Carbon capture para sa methane hydrogen ay nadadagdagan din rin ng gastos. Hydrogen storage. Hydrogen is very light and diffuses easily, so it must be stored under high pressure. Very low temperature, has liquid or in special chemical forms. All of these storage methods are technically challenging, expensive, and energy intensive. So, ano ba ibig sabihin nito? So, ano ba ibig sabihin ng hydrogen storage? Ang hydrogen storage daw, mahirap daw ito i-store ang hydrogen dahil ito ay low density, highly flammable, at nangangailangan ng specialized tank or pipeline. Compressed liquid or chemical storage ay mahal at energy intensive siya. Storage issue din ang naglilimit sa malawakang deployment. So the last is the hydrogen leakage. Hydrogen molecules are tiny and can leak easily from pipes or tank. Leaks are dangerous because hydrogen is highly flammable. Also, hydrogen released into atmosphere can directly increase greenhouse and effects, reducing its environmental benefits. So, ano ba yung ibig sabihin nito? Ang hydrogen leakage daw ay mayroon hydrogen molecules ay napakaliit kaya madaling tumagas sa pipeline o sa tank. Nakakabawas ito sa efficiency at may safety risk dahil flammable ang hydrogen. May indirect climate impact rin kung maraming hydrogen ang nakakalabas. So, bigyan lang natin siya ng maikling conclusion, yung 5 na yun. So, overall, hindi pa mainstream ang hydrogen power plants dahil sa mataas na production cost, storage, difficulties, leakage, risk, at limited infrastructure. Methane-based hydrogen ay mura pero polluting, habang ang water-based ay hydrogen ay clean pero mahal kaya kailangan pa ng innovation at investment para ma-practical ang paggamit nito sa malakihang scale.
Good day everyone. This part discusses the latest developments of hydrogen power plants. Today, the focus is on green hydrogen, which is produced using renewable energy sources like solar and wind. This makes hydrogen a cleaner alternative compared to fossil fuels. Another major development is the improvement of electrolyzer technology. These systems are now more efficient, reaching around 80% efficiency, which means better energy conversion. Globally, there are already more than 200 hydrogen projects being developed, showing that many countries are investing in this type of technology. Some power plants are also being designed as hydrogen ready, meaning they can use hydrogen fuel in the future instead of natural gas. In addition, hydrogen blending is being used, where hydrogen is mixed with natural gas to reduce carbon emissions while still using existing power systems. There are also pilot hydrogen plants currently being tested, but most are still in the early stages. However, challenges remain, such as high production costs and limited infrastructures. In conclusion, hydrogen power plants are continuously improving and have strong potential to become a major source of clean energy in the future.